XXFM.
This is Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming in the studio. I'm surrounded by Black Girl Magic this morning,
All
so
right.
I'm
Nice.
really excited. She is the Assistant Director of Events for Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston. Please welcome the lovely Brandi Ledet on the program. And she is the Director of Communications for Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston, the lovely Sucre Woodley. Good morning,
nice.
ladies.
Thank you. Good morning.
How are you all?
Doing just great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad that you all are here. So I love
Thank you for having us.
I love the energy. I'm feeling here. This is some good stuff.
We're ready.
So, Interfaith Ministries has been around for
Over 50 years.
Yes.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. There's a lot of organizations and businesses that are turning 50. Interfaith Ministries is turning 50. I was somewhere over the summer. Frenchie's is turning 50.
Wow. The moon landing.
Yes.
Yes.
The moon landing is 50 years old. So this is this must have been the year 69. Must have been the good year.
Exactly. Inspiration hit Houston in 1969.
Yeah. So for those who may not be familiar with Interfaith Ministries, because I mean, even though you've been around for over 50 years, a lot of people may not be familiar with what it is that you all do, especially the new people that come to Houston. So tell us about Interfaith.
Absolutely. So Interfaith Ministries, we really have four main programs. Meals on Wheels is our largest program, and we are the number one provider of Meals on Wheels in the state of Texas, which is something that we are very humbled by, and we take our commitment to serving seniors, homebound seniors, very, very seriously. We're also the number 4 provider of Meals on Wheels in the country. So that's just how large our program is here in Houston. But we still feel like it has room to grow. We know there are more seniors that we want to feed. And so, we definitely want to continue to grow our program. But we also have Refugee Services. We help resettle refugees to the Houston community from all over the world. We really call that welcoming the stranger. And Houston, being the most diverse city in America, and we feel like in some aspects in the world, it's really, we're very humbled to do that work as well. And our refugees are grateful to come to Houston and to be welcomed as a neighbor.
And I'm pretty sure, and I'm not going to get political, but I'm sure that they feel safe here because, we have that stance that even though what they're doing over there, what that guy in the White House is doing, we're not going to do that here. And so I'm sure when they come to you all, I'm sure they got to feel safe and secure.
They can feel the environment here in Houston is very open-minded and very accepting of different people and new people to our area. Yeah. So, yes, they do. They feel welcome here in Houston, and we thank Houstonians for that. Houstonians are amazing people.
Yeah, indeed. And then the other two that you all do.
Our interfaith relations and community partnerships, that's where we welcome people who either are of a diverse faith or no faith at all to come together. Let's dialogue. Let's talk and learn about each other, not feel like because I don't know what you know or I don't believe what you believe that we're so different that we can't come together. It's a beautiful thing to have people from various backgrounds come together and say, let's talk. Let's learn about one another so that there's unity that comes behind it. And then our fourth leg is our Volunteer Houston program. Volunteer Houston has been around for about 45 years. They were incorporated into Interfaith about 2 or 3 years ago. And we are basically a connector, if you will, of many different organizations who need volunteers and people, whether they're individual, families, groups, companies that say, hey, I want to volunteer in the city of Houston. Help me find an avenue to do so. And so Volunteer Houston is a connector that allows people to get in, volunteer, learn about different organizations, and Volunteer Houston will do the project for them, put together the project. Yeah. It's an amazing...
So kind of like a one-stop shop, if
exactly.
you will.
Very turnkey.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what was it that about Interfaith Ministries that made you all want to work and be a part? How did that come about? I'm interested in hearing Brandi, just because she said, "Oh goodness," so I'm sure it was happenstance. What happened?
I've been at Interfaith for a little over 3 years now, and the service that they do for the community is amazing to me. I have a heart for service, so it's a natural connection for me. But I get the fun of doing events that benefit these programs and help to fundraise for these programs. And so I get to see refugees' lives changed. I get to see homebound seniors who have never, who have lost their mobility, get a chance to see people come and care for them on a day-to-day basis, because we do this Monday through Friday where we deliver hot meals and come check on seniors. And so people who may have lost their family or their family's not there anymore, they get a chance to have somebody who cares about them really come and check on them, and not just, hey, here's your meal, I'll let you later, but really come and check on them. And then, I mean, just all the areas that we get to really impact this community. It's amazing.
That's what's up, Sucre.
Yeah, I mean, Brandi really touched on it too. Being that I'm in communications, it's telling the stories. We have some of the most amazing stories of resilience, survival, perseverance through our programs at Interfaith Ministries, whether it's seniors trying to stay in their home and but needing that support from the community, needing food, but also our refugees that we're welcoming to the new community as they come here, as they move to Houston from all over the world after spending years sometimes in refugee camps or on the run from their home country due to war or persecution. To be able to tell these stories, to be able to be here with you and to speak on what our clients go through is it's really an honor and a thrill for me as being in communications.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Sucre Woodley and Brandi Ledet from Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston. We're gearing up. Thanksgiving is a couple of weeks away, and Meals on Wheels, they're going to be providing those meals for our seniors. A few years ago, it's been quite a while since I delivered meals, because you all used to have us down at First Presbyterian Church. We set up in the parking lot with some music. You provided coffee and donuts, and we would go out and deliver those meals. And I remember the last time that we went to about like 3 houses. And the very first house, she was elated to not only to get the meal, but just that someone came to say hello and visit on Thanksgiving. Yes, and I will never forget that moment. I mean, I'm still there. I remember the apartment. I can't remember her name, but I was just like, wow, this really has to be a tough situation to be elderly, to be, as you say, not as mobile as one used to be, and the family not being there, or maybe they live in a different city, not a lot of people checking up on you, or just to be around people to socialize.
Correct.
That's gonna be a tough thing, and just seeing her face light up was all that I needed. Like, that literally made the rest of my Thursday. And we did a bunch of we went to a couple of more houses, and one where even the neighbors was like, hey, come on over, like you guys dropped this off for them, but we also had a meal for them, so you guys want to come in, and so another family like invited us in to their houses. Just it was so amazing.
That's community.
How can people participate and volunteer this year? Because it doesn't seem like you guys are short of volunteers. I mean, when we are there, like, people show up.
That's because you help us get the word out,
exactly.
though, too.
Exactly. Every year we have about 2,000 volunteers who come and help us with this project. This year it's at 2 different locations. First Presbyterian is one down off of Main Street in Midtown. The other one is in Galveston County. Wayne Johnson Community Center down inside Carbide Park is the other one.
Nice. Yeah.
And so, like Sucre mentioned, the the span and scope of who we reach out to is very large, and so we needed to go to 2 locations. We've been at 2 locations, I think, for the last 2 years. But people can sign up online. Our website, imgh.org/Thanksgiving is the best way to sign up. We really are in need of delivery drivers at this point. Okay. People who will say, you know what, I'll come to one of these locations to pick up the meals, and then I will go out and be that smiling face to the senior and make sure that they have their meal, make sure that they're okay, that they may need a hug or hey, somebody is caring for you. And so the routes are small. We try not to make it so that you are spending any more than your morning on Thanksgiving, so that you can go back and watch your football, go eat your turkey, hang out with your family
have
and
your
friends.
dinner.
All of that.
Do all of that.
Yes.
But it's a family friendly event. We really do need drivers at this point to go out to the various areas. And when you go onto that website, you can choose your desired area to deliver in. So though you may come to one of those 2 locations to pick up your meals, you may say, hey, I want to go deliver in Greenspoint. I want to go deliver in Katy. I want to go deliver in Humble, wherever the case may be, so that you can still go back and do what you need to do for the rest of the day.
I'm so glad you mentioned Greenspoint, because the North Side is often forgotten.
Right.
Like a lot. And I try to make it my business to remind us here at the station, like, our folks up on the north, especially in the Greenspoint area, they are always forgotten. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I can only imagine, how many black seniors that are up there that are in that same predicament.
Well, we're actually in Liberty County, Montgomery County, northwest, the northwest side of Harris County. We're out there. We have seniors out there that we're servicing. We need people that are willing to volunteer and drive to all different areas that we serve, all 5 counties that we serve. It's so huge.
It's so huge
exactly.
Yeah. So log on to imgh.org/Thanksgiving. To sign up to volunteer, to register. They need drivers, as they mentioned, and we will see you guys on Thanksgiving morning.
We're so excited about that.
Yeah,
we are.
I can't wait. It's always so much fun, and I really don't mind getting up that early to help, because service that is what we do.
That's right. That's right.
That's
we need to
we're
honor
here.
those that have come before us, that have really paved the way for us. And so many of our seniors, they know this is going to be the only person that they see on that day. Yeah. And they're really excited about it. They actually have to pre-sign up for it, so that we know that they're going to be home, so that we know that they don't have Thanksgiving plans, things like that. And we will be delivering more than 4,000 meals to our seniors on Thanksgiving. It'll start at 9 a.m. You'll be done and gone before noon, but noon is it. Right. That's the end time.
That's it. So,
that's right.
And to all of my people that are going to go onto the website to volunteer, and if you're to be a driver or whatnot, my key thing would be make them laugh. Say something funny to make them laugh, because the young lady where we were, I had made a joke and it just tickled her, and it was awesome. I believe that we made her day that day. She definitely made mine, just by being so happy and welcoming to see us and us drop off a meal. So we love what you all are doing, Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston. I really appreciate you all coming on.
We can't do this without Radio 1. We thank you for your continued partnership.
Absolutely. Indeed. Well, we'll always be there. Know that you have an open invitation on this program. Whatever you guys got going on, you ain't got to go through Jonathan or whatever. You can come right to me.
Just come to KG.
So thank you all.
Love
Brandi
that.
Ledet, Sucre Woodley from Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, KG.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming in the studio some first-timers. We're here to talk about relief. She is the media relations specialist for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Lenisha Smith is on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Good. And she is the Public Information Officer for the U.S. Small Business Administration.
Nope, that's me.
Wait. Right, that's you, right?
Oh, yes.
Right, yeah. And she,
I'm sorry.
Louise Porter.
Here I am. Thank you.
Here you are. Welcome. Go ahead, pull that mic up.
All right.
A little closer. So, ladies, welcome to the show. talk about what you all do. Clearly, I just said your title, but what is it specifically that you do for FEMA, Lenisha?
Okay, so I'm a media relations specialist, so I am here to disseminate information. So I'm going around talking to the local media outlets about disaster assistance, the assistance that FEMA is offering, how survivors can register for assistance if they've been impacted by Tropical Storm Imelda, and just what we sort of offer.
Indeed.
In the process.
Okay. And Louise, with the Small Business Administration, what do you do over there?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. And we talk to media as well as government officials about the programs that the SBA offers for disaster assistance. And the one thing that we really want to get out there as a message is that during presidentially declared disasters such as Tropical Storm Imelda, the Small Business Administration provides low interest rate loans for homeowners and renters, as well as businesses of all sizes and most private nonprofits. Mm-hmm. So we don't want people to get confused by the name. When they register with FEMA based on their responses, they may be referred over to the SBA, and we don't want them to be confused and say, oh, well, I'm not a business, and just throw out that application or discard that in their mind, because the SBA's programs work in conjunction with FEMA, and it's part of the whole process. So I'll bounce it back to Lenisha because I got ahead of the registration process here.
No, that's fine. So that's the difference. They offer loans and we offer grants. So that's basically like a cash. It's cash or a direct deposit that for your recovery process. So the one important date that I do want to get across is December 3rd. So that's the deadline to register for FEMA assistance. Okay. Now registering for SBA is definitely a part of our application process. So she'll talk about what they offer in terms like that. But so FEMA, I want to sort of manage people's expectations. People think that, oh, there's a disaster, FEMA's here, they're going to give me everything that I lost. So FEMA is not going to make you whole. We're here to make your home safe, sanitary, and secure. I like to say that FEMA's the emergency room. You go there, you get stable, and then we send you off to the specialist. Great analogy. So that's like your insurance or the SBA. But your insurance, I always like to say your insurance is going to be always your first line of defense. So I encourage survivors to definitely make sure you put in that insurance claim before you come and you register with FEMA. Because if you have insurance and that's on your application, it's automatically going to deem you ineligible for FEMA assistance, but only because you said you had the insurance. Now, by law, we can't duplicate funds for disaster assistance, so we have to know how much that insurance claim is going to be for, and then we can sort of determine how much you'll be eligible for through FEMA, because we do cover underinsured losses as well. Okay, so in order to get the FEMA assistance, this is kind of a two-step process. One thing that they need to have before they go and apply for assistance from you all, correct? If they have insurance, put that insurance claim in first, and then you would want to come through FEMA. Okay, you got that. So put your insurance claim in first, my people, and then have that to apply for the FEMA assistance. Now, Louise, with SBA, is that kind of the same process, or are there more steps? Well, no, it's very similar. So once you register with FEMA, you've already started the process You've already started the process of your recovery. Okay. But based on your responses, like if you have income and or maybe your taxes are complicated, you own a small business or a ranch or 20% or more of a corporation, they're going to forward you the SBA's application. And so we encourage anyone to complete it and send it back in, or you can do it online, but we encourage people to go through the process to see what their options are. Because if you are approved for a loan is only an option. You're not required to accept it. You could turn it down. It doesn't automatically kick in. You do need to sign off on it. The first $25,000 is uncollateralized, so it's just a signature. So we encourage people to put that in. The loans can go as high as $200,000 for real estate and as high as $40,000 for personal property, and for businesses they can go as high as $2 million. But it's all an individual situation. So we encourage people to put the application in and see what their options are. If people are declined, and the biggest reason people are declined is lack of repayment ability, like they can't afford a loan, or poor credit history.
So if that is the case, then most people get referred back to FEMA for their other needs assistance program. So it is part of the granting process as well. SBA is a lender and FEMA is a grantor, and that fiduciary responsibility is split at the congressional level. Like, it is split super high, so those two lines never cross. But we encourage people to find out what their options are.
Okay. You listen to Access Houston, talking to Lenisha Smith from FEMA and Louise Porter from SBA, trying to get you some assistance, grants and loans for those affected by Tropical Storm Imelda, which really did a number on us. I mean, we did not expect it to do what it did. And I'm like, wow. I've been in Houston for 7 years now. Out of these 7 years, we've had 5.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
It's been 5 major flooding events in the city, which prompted me to go take swim lessons this past summer.
That's
so
important.
I can be
Yes.
able to swim out of this place, and when the time comes that we do go under. But a lot of people have this expectation when it comes to government assistance when a natural disaster happens to us, and they think that they'll get the money very fast, not realizing that there's a process. I mean, hell, just with Hurricane Harvey, the city of Houston had just received the money, I believe, at the beginning of this year of 2019. They had just got the money from Harvey. Can you talk about the process? Yes, and an ideal time or a window that people can wait to receive the money, from time of application to probably when they get the check in the mail. Can you give us like a little window so people can at least have an idea, so they won't think that it's coming immediately?
Well, I always like to say it's a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
And I try to encourage people to make sure, or help us help you, make sure that we have all the required documentation that we need and all of everything that we need to move that process along as quickly as we possibly can, because we know how frustrating it can get when your home is destroyed and you're just waiting on us. Just make sure that we have everything that we need so we can push that process as quick as we possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Louise, what about with SBA?
Well, with SBA, once you complete the application and it's accepted and it's in the system, it should take about 7 to 10 days to get a response. Now, that's a verbal response. Now, right now, there's not a big queue. There's not a big lineup. So it might be a little bit shorter than that. But 7 to 10 days is an appropriate expectation. If it's a little quicker, then yay.
Right.
But after that, it depends on how diligent somebody is. It takes about 2 weeks, I would say, for the legal paperwork to get sent out to somebody to do a loan closing. Maybe a little faster, but I think 2 weeks is a good expectation once you have that approval. And then after that, once you sign it and get it back in, it could take another couple days. But nowadays, nobody gets checks anymore. Everyone wants direct deposit. And that makes it a lot faster. So it really depends on how diligent somebody is in completing their paperwork and following up with any loose ends that might be out there and doing what they need to do to get that paperwork through. But for the most part, it's quicker than you might think.
Yeah.
And I want to go back and talk about the multiple disasters as well, because we've been getting some questions of survivors who have received disaster assistance for Hurricane Harvey, and they've been hit again, acquired some damage through Tropical Storm Imelda, and they think that they can't apply again because they've received disaster assistance before.
That's a good point, Lenisha.
So it doesn't work like that. If you received damage through Tropical Storm, Hurricane Harvey, and you receive disaster assistance, that does not mean that you're ineligible for further assistance for another disaster. So if you have acquired damages through both storms, you can apply. You have to apply again for a different disaster, but you still may be eligible for disaster assistance for a separate storm as well.
That's very important, because I've had a lot of people just call me up on my other show on Magic 102 at night with concerns, especially around the time that Imelda had happened. And I felt bad because I couldn't give them an answer, but I'm so glad that you cleared that up, that they can apply for more assistance. You can apply,
but you do have to reapply. I don't want them to think that's just that same case. Oh, I have a case number open already. No, you have to reapply. Different disaster. Yes,
right.
You have to reapply.
Well, that's very smart. What are the biggest misconceptions that people have when going through this process, would you two say?
The biggest thing that I would say, there's a lot of rumors that go around because a lot of word spreads through word of mouth.
Right, in social media.
In social media and things like that. But the biggest thing, like I said before, is people think that FEMA's going to come in and we're just going to give you back everything that you had before, which is not the case. FEMA assistance is not made to make you whole. We're here to make your home safe, sanitary, and secure. Again, we're like that emergency room. We want to get you stable, and then we're going to ship you off to the specialist.
Indeed.
Yes.
Louise.
Yeah, I think for the SBA, the biggest hurdle that we struggle with is that people believe that it's only for businesses because of the name. So it's our big message that we want to get out to people is that it is for homeowners and renters and people that have had damage to their personal property, like even a vehicle. If somebody's vehicle was lost, or maybe somebody had some property in a storage unit, maybe that got flooded.
Right.
That's also considered eligible because that's someone's things. That's their stuff. So that's one of the things that we like to get out there. And, I did forget to mention one other thing, is that we also have programs for businesses. Speaking of the misconception,
right.
We also have programs for businesses that have had physical damage. And that deadline is the same as FEMA's physical deadline.
December 3rd.
December 3rd. Now, there's one more program that SBA has, and that is for economic injury. And that deadline is set 9 months from the date of declaration. So that sets it at July 6th of 2020. So people have a lot of time. But that is to help businesses pay their necessary operating expenses to keep their businesses going. Yes. And a lot of times businesses like to think about it as like, well, I lost some profit, so I need to make up this profit. But if you had made some money, you wouldn't have problems paying your bills. So it's to pay those bills to keep the business operating until things go back to normal. The deadline for that is not until July. But I'd like to take this moment and mention our customer service center number.
Sure.
And that is 1-800-659-2955. And I'll say that again. It's 1-800-659-2955. And they are there Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That is Eastern time. But they're there to help people answer questions like, where do I stand? If you have some questions, you don't even know what you're supposed to do, you just call them. They're sitting there waiting to talk to somebody. So it might as well be you. If you have some questions, they can help you find a close recovery center. They can help you go through the process. Now, you can't put the application in over the phone, but if you are having some trouble going through it online, they can help you. They can tell you where to go to put the application in. They can answer some questions. A lot of times people overthink the process. They want to get down to the very closest penny. But it is really okay to estimate those numbers. They do pull a credit report. They do pull taxes. They ask you for that. So they can look it up, and there's a very last page that says you can write on there, I estimated this. The most important thing is to get the application in and not wait around.
And again, that number, 1-800-659-2955 for the SBA. What do you guys call it? The Customer
Service Center. Customer Service Center.
Okay.
Right.
And,
it's a lot of words.
Lenisha,
right. And for FEMA, there are a few different ways that you can register for assistance. So we have the FEMA helpline number, which is 1-800-621-3362. And you can register online at FEMA.gov or disasterassistance.gov. You can download the FEMA app as well, or you can go into one of our disaster recovery centers that she was talking about that we have. We have 6 locations in 6 of the designated counties. So what a disaster recovery center is that is an opportunity for the survivor to come in and you can sit down face to face and talk with a FEMA representative, a small business administration representative, someone from a voluntary agency that may be offering disaster assistance as well, and also a local or state agency that may be there to help you as well. So I highly recommend that survivors were to come into a disaster recovery center. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to understand the process when you're sitting face to face rather than reading online or talking to someone over the phone. But you can go to FEMA.gov to find out which disaster recovery center is closest to you.
And again, that is FEMA.gov, or you can give them a call at 1-800-621-3362. That is for FEMA. Now, for the SBA customer service hotline, that is 1-800-659-2955. All right, so we know it's a lot. It will all be on our website at theboxhouston.com in case you need that. Ladies, I really appreciate your time coming up this morning to give this information. Is very important because people, they have questions. They don't know where to go. They don't know the process. They, it may be their first time when having to deal with this. So, your time is definitely appreciated.
Thank you. And I appreciate you for having us as well.
Indeed. Lenisha Smith, a public relations specialist for FEMA, and Louise Porter, the public information officer for the U.S. Small Business Administration. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.
We'll be back with more Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.